Hi, everyone. This is Susan D'Addario, and I'm a certified sleep science coach at Back to Sleep. And I am delighted to be here with all of you. Just to let you know a little bit about me and what I do, I provide one-on-one coaching to individuals who are having challenges with their sleep. I provide seminars on sleeping and workshops. I'm a public speaker. I've written a variety of sleep articles. I do a quarterly newsletter as well. And prior to that, I was a psychotherapist for 25 years. So today we're here to talk about sleep, and the topic at hand is sleep on it. Sleep your way to better health and happiness. So let's get right into it. Wanted you to know that there are well over 100 types of sleep disorders. And today we're going to focus on the number one sleep disorder, and that namely is insomnia. Other sleep disorders that also are quite prevalent include sleep apnea, which is a condition when one is sleeping, they actually will stop breathing momentarily and then resume and then stop breathing again, and that can happen throughout the night for some people. It's a situation that if you believe you might have something like that going on or a loved one, it's well worth your time and effort to speak to your family physician. There's restless leg syndrome, which is having a sensation in your legs later in the evening, around bedtime, right before bedtime, during the night, where you sense a sensation of jumpiness in your legs. And then, of course, there is narcolepsy, and that is when one it just has a very difficult time staying awake during the day and may fall asleep just all of a sudden, spur of the moment. So, in terms of insomnia, there are many factors that cause this insomnia. Now, with regard to insomnia, that especially means this: it's challenges falling asleep and or challenges staying asleep, people waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to fall back to sleep, and or people who wake up too early, say at about 4:30 in the morning. And then there's the people who have more than one of those situations going on, but it's all insomnia. And there are many reasons why it is going on. Here's a slide. If I had more room, there'd be more reasons why it is going on. But we're going to cover the issues that are colored in green. And in particular, number one, artificial light. So I wanted to just start by saying, why in the world are we talking about this? And that is because in our country alone, but this is a global issue, people are not sleeping enough, and it continues to get worse and worse. And in the States at this point in time, there are well over 70 million Americans who are challenged. And this was not always the case. You know, back in 1910, the average American slept 9 hours, believe it or not. And that meant that some of the folks were sleeping more than 9 hours a night. And nowadays, we're lucky if we get 7 hours of sleep. Many of us, a third of us, in fact, do not get 7 hours of sleep. And many of us get less than that. That, that is not a good thing for us. As you can see, in terms of sleep quantity, what we're looking for adults between 18 and 65 years old is to have a sleep night of about 7 to 9 hours. Now, let me just say that is a range. 7 hours is not better than 9 hours. 9 hours is not better than 7 hours. 8 hours, sometimes people refer to as the golden rule, what you're looking for sleep. You know, that's simply an average 8 hours. It's a very subjective amount of time, and some people need the 9 hours and others do not. So that is something that when we start to sleep better over the course of time and regain sleep debt, eventually your body will stabilize and you'll start to know the amount of time that you need. Children and teenagers, as a rule, need more than adults, and seniors absolutely need their sleep as well. They just sometimes have even more difficulty trying to get their sleep. So that's quantity, but there's also sleep quality. And I just wanted to cover that there are different stages when we're sleeping during the night. And there is light sleep, there is deep sleep, and then there is REM sleep. So I know many folks use sleep trackers these days. I just want you to know that when your sleep tracker, if it indicates that you are sleeping, let's say in an 8-hour night of sleep from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. as an example, if you are getting a report of 50% of your time has been in light sleep, that is very, very fine. Do not worry. I cannot tell you how many people I have worked with who feel that that's excessive and they get worried. No, that's very natural. It's very normal, and that's good. Both deep sleep and REM, rapid eye movement, dream state sleeps more or less come in at about 25%. And the way it plays out, as an FYI to all of you, is that light sleep occurs on and off throughout the night. However, deep sleep, generally speaking, will happen the first half of the night on and off with light sleep. And then midway, say at about 2 a.m., 2:30, deep sleep will start to quiet down, and REM sleep will become much more active. And REM sleep will finish out the second half of the night. That's not to say that you cannot have deep sleep the second half of the night or REM the first half of the night, but that, generally speaking, is how it plays out. Now, when we sleep well, let's say the quantity is sufficient and the quality is where it should be, that is referred to as restorative sleep, because that's the purpose of sleep. Not only does it help us to feel better in the mornings and that day, but it provides long-term benefits, ramifications when we get this deep sleep. So deep sleep and what happens in deep sleep as an example. So two things I wanted to go over with specific regard to deep sleep is, number one, during deep sleep, the on and off first half of the night of deep sleep, the brain gives the signal to release growth hormone. And those of you who work out know most likely what growth hormone is. It's a hormone that allows us to gain tone, to gain strength, to have muscle repair. And if we have injuries, it's really helpful for growth hormone, or if you're working out and you're trying to build musculature, what you do during the day in the gym comes to fruition during the night while you are on deep sleep. And even just for everyday wear and tear repair, growth hormone is where it's at. And so this is what deep sleep offers us. Another thing that is very, very important and interesting is that it's while we are in deep sleep, we actually have cerebral spinal fluid come up from the neck spine. It goes into our brain and actually rinses out our brain. It's like taking your brain to a car wash. Now, this is valuable because during the day, our brains, and even at night, but during the day, the brain is active nonstop, just thinking and calculating and taking care of us, things we don't even know that going on, your brain is taking care of. And because of all this energy that is being expelled by the brain, that energy can then produce these byproducts of the energy that are a bit of, let me describe, like a sticky type of cluster substance of amyloids, and they accumulate in your brain during the day. This happens each and every day. So what is supposed to happen at night during deep sleep is these clusters get rinsed away each and every night. And that is what will keep your brain healthy. If that does not occur because your sleep is inadequate, there is now research showing that that is potentially a precursor for the formation of and startup of Alzheimer's disease. Also, sleep benefits for REM dreams. REM is this rapid eye movement is uh, the time of when we're sleeping, where dreams are very predominantly occur. Lots of wonderful things. REM is supportive of your mind, as deep sleep is supportive of your body. It provides actually emotional healing. If you have had an experience, let's say, where it's been very hurtful, let's say someone you care for has left in one way, shape, or another, and it's a painful experience, I know that we will say time heals all things, but it's actually time that occurs night after night while we're asleep and dreaming of that event. And over the course of time with those dreams in REM sleep, that the dreams help us to have a different experience, a less charged experience of that loss. So it's frequently referred to as nighttime therapy. And you could see some of the other help that REM provides us for memory, even trying to solve situations, come up with solutions at work. You may be contemplating something and decide that you want to sleep on it. And when you do sleep on it, you wake up in the morning with a new idea or thought or solution, and that is REM. There are risks of poor sleep. I mentioned one, which is Alzheimer's, but you can see the list here. In terms of the first one, type 2 diabetes, I will tell you this, just after one night of poor sleep, whether it is not enough sleep or poor quality sleep or both, if you were to get your blood sugar tested that next morning, you would see that the blood sugar levels would be elevated. So imagine that going on and on and on, how it can easily transform into type 2 diabetes after X amount of years. So the insomnia, the causes, we're going to start out with artificial light. We will work through all the others. But as I mentioned previously and earlier in this talk, there are many, many causes to insomnia, too many to list here. Now, artificial light, let's talk about that because this is a biggie. Artificial light, number one, is a relatively new phenomena for us and for the brain. It kind of more or less came out in the mid 1800s. And so prior to that, it simply never existed before for the brain. And our brains are actually more wired to associate and connect with the sun, which is nature and a natural light, much, much more so than an artificial light. So part of the misalignment with the sun's cues. Now, sun cues means this. When the sun rises, that has always been a cue for us to rise. When we have this expression, which is called high noon, that's when the sun's at its peak. That also is when most of us have our strongest metabolisms. Then we have sunset. That has always been a cue from the sun to our brain when we used to especially live outdoors to start to set, to transition from daytime to nighttime and to start to down regulate, whereas sunrise is an invitation for us to upregulate. And then finally, there is sundown. That was always a cue for us to down regulate. So let's go with the morning. First thing, getting aligned with the sun's rhythm. It's in the morning. Get strong light exposure. This is something very natural. It's always been how things have been in the history of mankind. People would get up or already be outside because they lived outside, and they would be exposed to the strong light exposure, meaning the sun. So here's why this is important. This strong light actually goes through the iris of our eyes, and it goes to our master clock and gives the master clock a message. And that message is that a new day has started. Oh, my apologies. A new day has started. And with that message, the new day has started, the master clock then can, at that point in the morning, set up the scheduling for our sleep-wake cycle hormones for that nighttime, for during the next night, and to the next morning. The schedule, by the way, just so you know, melatonin is our sleep hormone. For most people, that's set to be released near 9 p.m. It stays elevated throughout the night, and it dips at about 4:30 a.m. And then cortisol, which is actually a stress hormone, but it's our wake-up hormone, that starts to release at about 5 a.m. And in most people, it reaches its peak between 7 and 9 a.m. and it dips a bit, although it does stay elevated into the afternoon. This scheduling of your sleep-wake cycle hormones starts first thing in the morning, and that's how it has always been. And then we will move to the evening. So sunset in the evening is going to be created a cue indoors by dimming all lighting and in your home as much as you can. And this is our way to let your brain know that it was daytime, but now it's transitioning. And the problem with artificial light is that there's really not much of a transition. So this will help your brain to relax because your brain is not at all comfortable with strong light in the evenings, artificial light. It's never been the case. And so dimming device lights, I'm not saying you have to be on devices, but if you are dimming them as much as you can, dimming all your home lighting and bathroom lighting in particular, I would recommend that you consider getting a night light and start using that. This, I would say, the dimming can start, and even the next topic here of blocking blue light, both of them can start at about 8:30 in the evening. And using a night light starting from 8:30 and avoid turning on a bathroom light, which quite frankly is extremely bright at night for your brain. So this will help cortisol levels to come down. It will help you to relax in the evening, and that is part of down regulating. The second piece here is blocking blue light. Now, blue light is extremely confusing to your brain, and blue light is in white light. As a matter of fact, there are many colors in white light that we do not see. And when I say that, just think of the rainbow. All those colors are also in an artificial white light bulb. When your brain in the evening and at night comes in contact with blue light that you don't even see, for example, it makes an assumption incorrectly that if there is blue light, it must mean that it's daytime, because historically that was the case, but it no longer is. And the problem with that is that when your brain believes that it is daytime when it's evening and nighttime, your brain will not give the signal for melatonin release. So you can see what this gentleman is doing. He is wearing blue light blocking glasses for the evening. They must have orange lenses. Those are the type of blue light blocking glasses that will block blue light by about 99%. Put them on at 8:30 or so. Keep them on until you are in bed and all the lights are out. And then finally, nighttime. This is, again, part of our rhythm with the sun. Nighttime means in your bedrooms, it should be pitch dark. And by pitch dark, I mean when you're in bed, if the lights are out and let's say you put your hand in front of your face, if you see your hand, it is not pitch dark. It may be dark, but there's a big difference between the two. Go with pitch dark. If you need to, I recommend strongly purchasing blackout draperies, putting them up. And if you have lights that are even these itsy bitsy digital lights in your room, cover them up with black electrical tape or cover things up with a towel. Just make it nice and dark. That's what your brain wants. And then finally for nighttime, by the way, nighttime we refer to as converting your bedroom into a cave. It needs to be cool. This is another cue for your brain to keep it cool because the brain associates coolness with nighttime. Coolness, according to research, is about 65 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't necessarily think you need to make it quite so cool. There's a range that would say up to 72 degrees Fahrenheit is acceptable, although my experience has shown that for the vast majority of people, they do best with temperatures at about 67 to 69 degrees. It's very difficult to sleep well in a warmer room. Let's get to issue number 2 then. We have completed the discussion of artificial light, device usage. So the problem with devices is that they keep your brain awake. They're too active, and we don't want to have an active brain at night. We want to have a brain that's getting relaxed, and that's really tough when devices are on. The content, whether we're watching television or whatever, is it can be overly stimulating or frightening or whatever we're watching. And that's separate and apart because they would be bright, they would provide blue light, which we don't want. But if you're dimming the device and if you're wearing blue light blocking glasses, you have taken care of those two things. But this remains problematic, what this list shows here about devices at night. So to align with devices, I would recommend get off them if you can, like a good 30 minutes before going to sleep. And social media, I cannot tell you how many people I work with who get on different types of social media and find that they look up from social media 2 hours later and all of a sudden it's very late at night and they had never any intention of doing that. So careful of social media. It's actually quite addictive. There are many other ways to pass an evening to help you to wind down and get set for going to sleep. Chronic stress is out there for everyone. Dimming lights will help with your stress because bright lights at night exacerbate stress. But we are so used to stress, it's just chronically in us, and we don't even necessarily realize it unless it's acute. But we are, most of us, operating on a low level of stress each and every day, and that can cause challenges with our sleep. So here are some ideas. There are many possibilities of how to deal with chronic stress. I think the first thing is simply having an awareness that it exists. But these are just some ideas for a wind down routine for your evening or closer to bedtime. Epsom salt soaks are wonderful. Epsom salts are loaded with magnesium, and magnesium is known as the relaxation mineral. So if you soak in a nice tub filled with Epsom salt, say per bathtub about 1 cup of them, and for about 20 minutes, it can be a wonderful spa-like experience. Just make sure that you don't soak or shower too close to bedtime because that will raise your body temperature, and that's not anything we want to be doing beyond 2 hours to our towards our bedtime. We want to break and give our body temperatures time to come down. That is what is supposed to happen. But you can see the other recommendations here. They all are based upon some type of science. Just super quick, the cool pack idea is because the cool pack, I recommend you put it behind your neck. And that is because in our bodies, we have something called the vagus nerve. It runs from our neck and it wraps around in front of our torso, back and forth, all the way down to our guts. It has extensions to all our vital organs, and it is directly connected with our what is known parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation mode. So when we activate this vagus nerve, it just helps us to relax. And one of the ways to turn it on is through coolness. Eating has an impact on our sleep, and opposite, how we sleep has an impact on our eating. So we don't want to necessarily eat a tremendous amount of carbs. We want to avoid shooting up our blood sugar levels. That is because if we go to sleep with elevated blood sugar levels, they will need to come down during the night. And when they drop, that can cause us to wake up. So I have an image here of an ice cream sandwich because a former client that I supported with sleep coaching came out that that was her habit. She had an ice cream sandwich habitually right before bedtime. And when that came out in our discussions and when she changed that behavior a bit, her sleep improved immediately. So here's what I'd recommend. Starting off throughout the day, eating balanced plates of food. That means having the majority of your dish with different colored vegetables, with making this a nutrient dense meal. A protein that you enjoy, the size of your palm, this thickness of your palm. And yams and sweet potatoes are terrific. They are actually conducive to producing extra melatonin to help you sleep. They do not raise your blood sugar in any way similar to a white potato. And I would say this too, stop eating a good 2 hours before you go to sleep. So there is no competition between what should be happening while you're sleeping and digestion. Alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant, and while it can help some people fall asleep quickly, alcohol ruins the second half of your sleep. A lot of people will wake up during the night, in the middle of the night, they will be sweating. That's what alcohol does. It raises our body temperature, so it will give you excess deep sleep, which is not necessarily a good thing. And as I said, the REM sleep will suffer due to alcohol. So what you can do with alcohol is it seems to be, according to research, easiest for most people to metabolize the alcohol, that is to digest it and void it around happy hour time. That is the best time to have alcohol. And the other thing I'd like to say is if you could restrict whatever beverage you're enjoying to 1 to 2, and if it's 2, if you can put some water, a glass of water in between those drinks or following the last drink, because alcohol dehydrates us and dehydration causes sleep problems. And just like eating, if you could stop drinking, it would be in your best interest 2 hours before sleep. Again, we're trying to make it so that nothing is going to interfere in sleep and what your body wants to accomplish during sleep and in your recovery. Caffeine. Caffeine, unlike alcohol, alcohol is a depressant, caffeine is a stimulant, and this can interfere in sleep. I know many people feel that they can absolutely have coffee right before they go to sleep, but I promise you that even if you are sleeping, that this caffeine is reducing the quality of your sleep. Caffeine, of course, is in coffee, it is in sodas, it is in energy drinks, it is in chocolate, it is in tea. So just be mindful of what you're drinking and how it could help and or help and interfere in good sleep. So what to do about that? I would recommend you enjoy your coffee in the morning, but try to keep it to 2 cups, a maximum. Try to finish it by 2 p.m. And when I say cups, I don't mean 16-ounce cups or larger. A 16-ounce cup is actually equivalent to 2 cups. So if you really, really love your coffee, I would recommend, and you want more than 2 cups of 8 to 10 ounces of let's say, coffee, regular coffee, mix it up. Put a little bit of decaf in it, say half and half, so that you can enjoy the coffee taste. You can get a little bit of that response of the caffeine, but again, it's going to be not quite so much an exposure to full strength coffee. Green tea is a wonderful afternoon drink. It only has 1/3 the caffeine of coffee, and in the green tea leaf, there's an amino acid which is called L-theanine. L-theanine provides calm, so it can take a bit of the edge off the caffeine, as well as focus. It is a terrific afternoon drink, as I said. So there you have it, everyone. We're wrapping it up on sleep on it. Work with your connection with the sun, get strong light in the mornings, decrease that light and blue light in the evenings, make it dark and cool at night. Please get off your devices if you can, a good half hour before trying to go to sleep. Try to create a pre-bedtime routine just to relax and prep yourself for bed and for sleep. Decreasing caffeine, stimulant, stop drinking, all the different types, the formulations of caffeine, or eating the chocolate, and also decreasing alcohol as much as you can and keeping to that happy hour schedule. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm so honored to be here to share this information with all of you. If I could be of any help to anyone, feel free to reach out to me. Again, Susan D'Addario, Certified Sleep Science Coach at Back to Sleep. And that is that, my friends. Sleep on it. Sleep your way to better health and happiness. And with that, I wish you a glorious night of sleep and sweet dreams. Bye bye.